What is the relationship between inflation and GDP growth? Imagine a busy marketplace where prices are changing every day. Sometimes prices go up slowly, and sometimes they spike suddenly. That's what inflation is all about. Now, think about how much stuff a country makes in a year. That's what gross domestic product or GDP measures. When you hear about a country's economy doing well, it usually means GDP is growing. But how does inflation fit into this picture? When inflation is low and steady, it often goes hand in hand with steady GDP growth. Why? Because when prices stay predictable, businesses can plan ahead, invest wisely, and consumers feel confident to spend. This creates a healthy cycle where the economy keeps growing smoothly. But if inflation gets too high, things can get tricky. Prices rise so fast that people can't buy as much with their money. This reduces how much consumers spend, which can slow down economic growth. High inflation also makes it harder for businesses to plan because costs keep changing. They might hold back on investments or cut back on hiring. When businesses and consumers pull back, the economy slows down even more. Research shows that if inflation goes above about 4%, its negative effects on economic growth become clearer. Below that level, inflation doesn't usually cause much trouble. But above it, growth tends to suffer. Sometimes, a little inflation can actually boost growth temporarily. If people expect prices to rise, they might spend more now to avoid paying more later. This can give a short-term boost to the economy. But if inflation keeps climbing, it can lead to higher interest rates, less investment, and lower productivity. Banks also play a role. When inflation rises, banks can lose money because the value of their loans may not keep up with rising prices. This can make banks cautious about lending money, which slows down economic activity. To sum up, the link between inflation and GDP growth isn't simple. Low and stable inflation supports steady growth. But when inflation gets too high, it can slow down the economy. Keeping inflation under control helps keep the economy healthy and growing. That's why policymakers focus on managing inflation carefully to support long-term economic progress.